got Kevin McGuffey stopping by from Last Word on College Football to talk some Kentucky Wildcats, not basketball, even though I know Kentucky Big Blue Nation is thinking hoops at this point, and they started to think hoops a lot sooner this fall, unfortunately, Kevin.
Yeah, since about mid-October, probably hoops has probably been the dominant thing. But yeah, it's been just wasn't one. Everything started out well. The season kind of peaked with that win at Ole Miss, and just kind of, you know, uh, downhill slide ever since. It's kind of continued on even over the last couple of days. So yeah.
All right. Well, hope springs eternal, and hope
Right.
is mostly found in this recruiting class, although the transfer portal is going to be a big factor for everyone. So, in terms of Kentucky's class coming in mostly on Wednesday, what are your thoughts?
I think overall it's a pretty good class. They had a couple of players who flipped earlier in the week, most notably Marquise Davis, who was a running back from Ohio. He was, by depending on what circle, which thing you look at, he was the highest rated running back recruit Kentucky had ever had. He flipped, went to Missouri. So, but overall, I think it's a good class. If you look at 247, they're 29th, which is usually about where Kentucky seems to finish about every year, anywhere from 25th to 30th. I think there's some really good players, maybe some guys who can come in from day one and possibly start. And I don't know how much you've been following the what's been going on the last couple of days, but one thing you'll notice is that Kentucky in the class signed 4 wide receivers, which is probably a good thing because everyone that's wide receiver seems to be leaving. So I don't know if you've heard all the news yet, if the Mark Rogers audience has heard the news, but Dane Key's in the transfer portal. Barry Brown put his name in the transfer portal today. Neither one I could say I was not wasn't unexpected. And then also Anthony Brown Stevens, a third wide receiver, has also put his name in the portal along with 3 tight ends. So yeah, there's going to be a. Stoops said it after the Louisville game. He expected a lot of turnover within the program, and we're 72 hours from that Louisville loss, and it's already happening. So,
do you think that's a situation, Kevin, where these guys got handed a nice bankroll, or a situation where, hey, we're looking out for our NFL future and we think we can find a better quarterback situation somewhere?
I think that's got a lot to do with it. If you watch this year, obviously, Brock Vandegrift had all the hype in the world and just didn't turn out to be what the Big Blue Nation hoped it was going to be. A lot of that, I think, had to do with the fact that for a third year in a row, if you watch Kentucky, you saw a quarterback running for his life. A lot of the time, that's the one thing that needs to be fixed through the transfer portal. Kentucky needs whatever it costs, whatever they need to find like 2 really good offensive linemen in the portal. But as far as Key and Brown, there's been rumors of him transferring every year that he's been at Kentucky, and now it finally happened. Key, I was a little more surprised just because his father played here, and he's from Lexington, but we'll see. I don't know who you had on before Georgia. If I were laying odds, I would bet Georgia possibly for Dane Key, just for no other reason than apparently his girlfriend plays volleyball down there. So, why not, right?
Yeah, we've had to track the destination or the location of some of these girlfriends here with the transfer portal over the last couple of years. Yeah, that seems to be something, that has been added to our list of things to track.
Right. But talking about the list, Kentucky's list this year, like I said, I think there's 3 or 4 guys who can come in immediately and play. One of them, a guy I'm really, really high on, is Andrew Purcell. As you see, he's the top rated He's a top-rated player by rivals. Really, really good secondary player out of Alabama. Maxwell Hairston is all but seems to be a given that he's going to go pro, and the Cats probably going to lose 2 or 3 more guys either through the portal and have a couple graduating. So he's a guy who could probably come in right away. And Mikael Skinner, the next guy on the list from South Carolina, he was a guy that we were all watching very closely with his commitment because he's from South Carolina. The Gamecocks were making a huge pitch to try to get him to stay in the home state, but he remained with Kentucky. He's a guy. Vince Marrow said he was, Kentucky's tight ends coach, said he was one of the best prospects he's ever signed. So he's a guy I think you could come in and play, probably play immediately. As I said, three tight ends have already transferred out of the program. Whether playing time, I'm sure has a lot to do with it. But like I said, he could come in. Willie Rodriguez, who was a freshman this year, did some really, really good things at the end of the year. He's probably going to be one-year tight ends, and Skinner could be another one. And then the next guy, Javion Campbell, really, really great story. He's from Western Hills High School in Frankfort, which is which is about 25 miles from Lexington. It's the same high school that produced Wan'Dale Robinson. When he committed to Kentucky, Wan'Dale was there in attendance. Is a really interesting story. He's only been playing football for a couple of years. He's the all-time leading scorer in basketball at Western Hills, but with his size and I was talking to the football coach and said, "Hey, you should try to come out and play football," and he did. And the story he told was that his first play he got a sack, and he was like, "Hey, this football thing might be kind of fun." So he's another guy. Like I said, Deion Walker is probably is going to be gone to the NFL draft. JJ Weaver, they're going to lose a lot of guys at the edge position. So he's another guy who could come in and play immediately. And the thing about it is, there's a lot of holes right now. So this whole off season is going to be very interesting to see what happens. But like I said, I like the recruiting class. The station that I work for, we have Vince Marrow on every year. Yes, that's another guy I was going to talk about, Cam Miller, the flip from Wisconsin. I think he can do some big things as well. But Marrow was, of course, they're going to say they're excited about the class and they're going to get this thing turned back in the right direction. Everybody, 4-8. It's 1 year. Everybody's trying to say it's just 1 year, so we'll see what happens next year. But I'm excited about the class they had and some of the guys that we talked about there. I think you come in and do some really good things starting from the beginning next year.
Kevin McGuffey, last word on college football, breaking down the Cats for us, the 2025 class. They're in the top 30 in the nation. Kevin, always good to see you.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.
We won't be talking about a bowl game this year.
No, but I was going to throw in a shameless plug. Go to Last Word on College Football. Check out my my bowl projections. I'm updating them tonight, actually, and there'll be a fresh batch of predictions tomorrow. So we have 4 games for sure that we know that the matchups have already been set. So then come in, check it out tomorrow, and see what you think. Then I'll have a final projection Sunday morning before all the picks come out. So again, thank you for having me on as always. Greatly appreciate it. I know you got more people to talk to, and we'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Kevin.